Hello students, I am going to start with the next topic, which is climate. Now in this, India is said to have a tropical monsoon type of climate. Now why is India said to have a tropical monsoon type of a climate? Because India lies within the tropical zone or the tropical belt. Because if you see, the Tropic of Cancer divides, it passes through the center of India. So a major portion of India lies within the the tropical zone. So it is called as tropical monsoon climate because the southwest monsoon winds, generally when it enters India, most of the moisture gets retained because of the Himalayas. The Himalayas intersect these monsoon winds, and so major moisture remains within the country, so it is called as a tropical monsoon type of a climate. Now when you compare the different places in India, the climate of the different places in India, they are not the same everywhere. They differ region to region wise or from place to place. Why is that? Because there are certain factors that affect the climate of those places in India. Now for example, a state like Kerala down south, it has a wet type of a climate. Why is that called? Because most of the time they receive good amount of rainfall throughout the year. Similarly, when you compare it with Rajasthan, Rajasthan mostly receives a scanty rainfall. Similarly, there are places like like Mumbai, for example, the coastal places. There, the windward side, that is, it lies on the windward side. So there it receives good amount of rainfall. When you go a little inside, Nagpur receives less rainfall. Places like Delhi is very hot during the summer season. Even places which are like Chennai and all are not very hot. They have an equable climate. So there are certain factors. Those factors we are going to learn now. Now the first most important factor is the Himalayas, the presence of the Himalayas. Now Himalayas also, they are called as the climatic divide. They act as a climatic divide. Sometimes questions are asked and you have to write 2 points. It's mostly asked for 2 marks. So 2 points have to be there. Now why is the Himalayas? How does it affect the climate of India? Now these are lofty ranges that is there. So they prevent the cold winds from Siberia into India. That is the winds that come from Central Asia. So the cold winds mostly during the winter season, the chilly winds are obstructed. So then it doesn't become very cold in India because of these lofty Himalayas. The second point is the southwest monsoon winds, like I will be explaining in the next part, like how the southwest monsoon winds gives rainfall to most part of India. So then these winds enter India also because of the Himalayas. They are like most of the moisture remains within the country and a little goes to the rain shadow region of the Himalayas. So then it is like very important. The Himalayas are very important for us. Had these Himalayas not been there, then India would have become a cold desert. Cold because the winds, chilly winds would have entered India. At the same time, the rain-bearing winds also would have left the country. So because of which the Himalayas are very important. So it is an important factor. The second is latitude. Now, like I said, the Tropic of Cancer is the latitude that divides India into 2 parts. Now 2 parts, which means the place that lies to the north of the Tropic of Cancer, that has a continental type of climate. So it experiences like extreme type of climate, like you have Delhi, you have Punjab, those places, because it's very hot during the summer season, very cold during the winter season. Whereas places that lie south of the Tropic of Cancer, they experience more like tropical, like they're very warm and they are also very close to the equator. And also there are like a lot of surrounding seas also there, which gives a lot of moisture to the country. So latitude also is another important factor. Next is altitude. Now altitude also you all have learned in 9th standard. That is the normal lapse rate. Like as we go higher and higher, that is, it is said that as the height increases, like as we go higher by 166 meters, there is in the drop in the temperature by 1 degree Celsius. So mostly you will see the hill stations like Ooty, Matheran, Mahabaleshwar, even during the summer seasons, now they experience like cooler temperature, like very pleasant, very cool. So mostly people go to these places during the summer season. Also places like Mussoorie, then Darjeeling, those places are Mussoorie and all, Nainital at a greater height. So there it is even more colder. So altitude also, it's an important factor. So that also depends. Like if you see Mumbai and if you compare Ooty, then which will be more colder during the summer season? Obviously Ooty, because Ooty lies at a height compared to Mumbai. So then altitude is another factor. Distance from the sea. Distance from the sea, like mostly the coastal areas receive the moderating influence of the sea. Like you all have learned, like the land breeze and sea breeze. So during the daytime we experience what you call sea breeze, so it is relatively cooler, it is not very hot. And during the night time it is land breeze, so the from the land the wind blows towards the sea, so it is not very what you call cool also, where you don't feel very cold. So that is because of the coastal areas like places like Mumbai, Chennai, Kochi, all these are coastal areas. So we experience the sea breeze as well as the land breeze. Whereas places that are in the interior, like far away from the sea, they don't experience the moderate influence of the sea. So they are very hot during the daytime, very cold at night. So they have extreme type of climate. So distance from the sea is also an important factor. Next, these five, 6 and 7 I have mentioned here because these 4 are important. These other 3 factors are also mentioned in detail in the Anish textbook. Now jet streams also is one more factor. Jet streams are, these are fast blowing winds that generally blow in the upper area of the atmosphere between the troposphere and stratosphere. So they are very fast blowing winds and they blow at a speed of almost 200 to 400 kilometers. So then they are also responsible for bringing in the what you call the moisture winds into India, and also they also result they are also the cause for these winds to blow outside that region. For sometimes you feel that it is very cloudy, but then suddenly it's very sunny. So this is because of the winds that blow in the upper layer of the atmosphere. These are jet streams. Next is varied relief features. Varied relief features means other than the Himalayas, there are other ranges, like we have the Western Ghats, then the Aravallis are there, then there is the Garo, Khasi, Jaintia hills. So these also provide as a orographic barrier, like orographic rainfall. They obstruct the winds from blowing and they give rainfall to the other side, that is the windward side. So that is called as the other relief features. Surrounding seas means we are surrounded by 3 water bodies. We have the Bay of Bengal, then we have the Arabian Sea, and then we have the Indian Ocean in the south. So these water bodies also give a lot of moisture to the country. So that also results into the difference in the temperature. So these are some of the factors. There are one or few more also in the textbook, but it is not necessary like you have to write all of them. For 2 marks, 2 factors needs to be written and little bit of explanation should be done. For 3 marks, obviously 3 points. So you need not write all the 5 or 7 points. So these are the factors that affect the climate of India. Now I'll explain the different seasons that our country experiences. Now we're going to learn about the 4 different seasons that India experiences. The first season, see, questions are asked, like sometimes in the board it has been asked, name the 4 seasons that India experiences and the months, and their months as well. So you have to write this and you have to mention the months, like this period, like from where it starts until the starting as well as the ending months. Now here the first one is the hot and the dry summer season. So hot and the dry summer season starts in March and it ends, it's till May. After that, the next season comes as the rainy season. It is also called as the hot and wet season. Hot because there is a lot of humidity, and wet because it rains. There is moisture also, rain also. It's very warm also. It's also called as a rainy season or southwest monsoon season, because the winds actually enters India from southwest. So that's why it is called as southwest monsoon. And this starts from June and it ends till, it's till September. After that, the retreating southwest monsoon, which means the winds that enter, the southwest monsoon means as it enters India, it is a withdrawal. They start to withdraw, they start to retreat. So that is called as the retreating southwest monsoon. And this retreating happens in these 2 months. October it starts and it goes on till November. After that, we have the winter season, which is also called as a cold and dry winter season. Dry because there is no rainfall, except the eastern coastal areas receive, like Tamil Nadu, the Coromandel coast receives rainfall. So that is why it is called as the cold and dry winter. Sometimes it is even called as wet winter season. December to February, they are also called as northeast monsoon winds. So these are the 4 seasons, and this is very important because you have to know the season name as well as the months from when it starts and the ending months as well. Now I'll go to the next frame wherein I will explain the first season, hot and dry season. Yeah, now I will explain the first season, which is the hot and dry summer season. This starts from March and it ends, it is till May. Now this is how I'm just showing, before I explain further, I will just show how the movement of the sun. See, the sun doesn't move. It's actually the earth that revolves around the sun. But it appears as if the sun is moving. So I will just explain with respect to that. Now this is, I have just drawn the tropics. I have not drawn the Arctic and the Antarctic circle. So then this is the Tropic of Cancer here, which is at 23.5 degrees north. This is the equator at 0 degrees. And this is 23.5 degrees south, which is the Tropic of Capricorn. Now see here, the sun is exactly facing the equator on the 21st of March. Okay, so here, like I said, the season starts from March. So 21st of March, the sun is here exactly facing the equator. So it is very hot. It is vertically facing, the sun's rays, are vertically falling on the equator. Now, as the months proceed, like March, April, May, as the months proceed, the sun slowly goes up and it comes here. So here, when it comes here, it is exactly facing the Tropic of Cancer here on the 21st of June. So the sun's rays are falling here. Then again, as the months proceed, the sun will, like June, so July, August, September. So it goes down, and it comes in September. It comes here again back to the equator. So it is on the equator. The sun comes facing the equator on the 21st of March and also the 23rd of September. So it's equinox. It is called because they have equal days and equal nights. Then the sun again goes down. So September it comes back here. Then October, November, December. So 22nd of December it is again here. So it is there, the Tropic of Capricorn. So then again the process, it keeps on going, the cycle keeps on going. So December, then January, February, March. So it keeps moving here. December, January, February, March. So March again 21st. So the cycle goes on. Now what happens is the Tropic of Cancer, here like I said, it starts from March to May. So it is very hot during this time. Now this you have seen the Tropic of Cancer, and in the factors I had explained that Tropic of Cancer is also one of the factors that affects the climate of India. Now see here, I will just show you another map. Now see, I have brought this map of India so that you can understand it much more better. Now like I said, this is the Tropic of Cancer that we saw in that the previous that I had shown on the frame. Now this is the Tropic of Cancer. The sun goes up from down, it comes up, and as it comes here, the lower part of India, that is the peninsular India here, receives the rays of the sun first. So it becomes very hot. So these regions become very hot. But there is an advantage for the coastal areas. The coastal areas, because they are in the coast, they experience the moderating influence of the sea. So they are not very hot. They are almost, the temperature is around 28 degrees, 30 degrees. But in the interior, inside, it becomes little more warmer because they are in the interior. Now there are places like Ooty. So those places, the hill stations like Mahabaleshwar, Ooty, so those places are at a height. So there the temperature won't rise, very high. It would be around, 15 degrees, very, very pleasant. So only the places that are in the interior will be warmer compared to the hill stations and the coastal cities. Now the sun will go from here and it will come till here on the 21st of June. Like I had explained, this part, this is the area which actually this line, that is the latitude which divides India. The lower area, that is the southern part, is where the India is, and then it goes up and then it comes here. The sun comes here on the 21st of June, so it is very hot, this area. So basically this region experiences the rays of the sun. It's like very hot. And the places that are to the north here of the Tropic of Cancer, it is extremely hot there because they don't have the moderating influence of the sea. So they are very hot during the summer season. And so there are places like Delhi, then Punjab, then Uttar Pradesh, Bihar. These places, it becomes very, very hot there. And they experience hot wind starts blowing in the months of May and June. So those months are called as Lu. Those winds are called as Lu because it's extremely hot winds that blow here, and also because of which the temperature becomes very high, the wells become they dry, the rivers shrink. So these are some of the causes of the heat waves that it experiences. Yeah. So now during the hot and summer season, like it explained, places that are near the coast, they have they don't experience very harsh summers because they get the moderating influence of the sea because of the sea breeze. Also places that are at a height like hill stations, they are pretty cool there, pleasant. Whereas places that are in the interior, those places there the temperature rise to even 40 degrees Celsius, very high degrees Celsius. And also places like Rajasthan, because there is hardly any vegetation cover, mostly the western part of Rajasthan, so it becomes very hot there. And also, like I said, places that lie little over the Tropic of Cancer, because they are more away from the sea. So there is a trough that is formed like from Rajasthan till Chota Nagpur. So hot, intense low pressure area develops over the land because of the land becoming very hot. So there is low pressure that exists, prevails over the land. So then here, what are the winds that blow during this season? This is also asked. The local winds that blow during the summer season. So local winds, Loo, Kal Baisakhi and mango showers. Sometimes questions are asked on these and defined. What is Kal Baisakhi? What are mango showers? What are they beneficial in, like the importance? So in local winds, the first one, Loo. Now Loo, these are hot winds that blow during the months of May and June. So these are hot winds, and the temperature because of which rise to even 45 to 50 degrees Celsius. Like I said, it becomes very hot, unbearable heat, and the wells also, some of the wells even dry. Rivers also they shrink and they flow. Streams also they dry up totally, and sometimes the heat is even sometimes fatal. So nose also starts to bleed. So because of that, it is like very bad temperature that prevails during this time. So this is called as Loo. Even this is asked. Kal Baisakhi is called also as a calamity of the Baisakh, which means during this time it rains very heavily, mostly in states like Assam, West Bengal. So Assam, if it is moderate rainfall, then obviously it helps in the cultivation of tea. West Bengal, again, that rainfall is useful for jute and also for rice cultivation. But otherwise, if it is very bad, it can even result into flooding. So it destroys property. It loss to life also it is there. So it is called as Kal Baisakhi. This also happens in the month of April and May. So these are also called as northwesters because they blow from the northwest part of India. So they are also called as northwesters. Next is mango showers. These winds generally are experienced in South India. So states like Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka. Now here they are called as mango showers because they help in the ripening of mangoes. This is very important. You have to write this. They are beneficial or they help in the ripening of mangoes. They are also called as cherry blossoms because they help in coffee cultivation. Mostly in Karnataka it is called as a cherry blossom because Karnataka is a major producer of coffee. So just don't say that cherry blossom means for plantation of cherry, because the coffee, the fruit, actually it looks, it is cherry, crimson red in color. So when they ripe, it's of that color, so they look like cherry. So that's why the name is given. So please don't write for cherry plantation, but coffee plantation, and because Karnataka is famous for coffee. So these are the three winds that blow during the summer season. This is also very important. Now season, which is the rainy season. Now we go to the next season, which is the hot and wet season, also called as the rainy season. And in your textbook you will come across this word, which is southwest monsoon. I have explained why these winds are called as southwest monsoon. In the previous season, which was the hot and dry season, I had explained, I had drawn this, and I had even mentioned how the sun moves up and down, and I had given the dates like 21st March it is here, then 21st June it is here, then it goes back again to the equator, it is September, goes down, it is December. So it's all, the seasons generally are based on this, the movement of the sun. Basically it is the revolution of the earth around the sun. Now here what happens is, during the summer season, I had explained, because the sun is initially here and as it moves towards the tropic, the lower part, that is the southern part of India, receives the first, the rays of the sun. So they become warmer first. But like I said, there are places which lie near the coast. So there it is not very hot. Places at a height, there it is relatively cooler. But the interiors, like if you go towards the north, the northern place become very hot because they are far away from the sea, and also they lie on the plains. But there are places like Mussoorie and all those places, because they lie at a height, greater height, the temperature is very cool there. So they don't encounter like extreme summer heat there. So that is because of the rays of the sun is there. Now here what happens is, now during the raining season, Like I said before, the summer season, the land is very hot. So because of that, the air that is there above the land becomes like, it's very warm there. So it becomes light and it goes up. So there is low pressure exerted over the land. At the same time, the surrounding seas, because the seas here they take longer time to heat up because the volume of water is huge. So then they slowly heat up. So when you compare it with land mass, it is relatively cooler. So there is like cold air over the sea. So cold air, which means that they are heavy, so they sink. So there is high pressure over the sea. So the winds move from high pressure to low pressure. So during the summer season, a lot of intense heat is experienced over the land, because of which there is intense low pressure conditions prevailing over land. At the same time, the sea is cooler, so there is high pressure. Now what happens is, this results into the winds actually getting attracted. So the southern hemisphere, mostly the oceans are all mostly concentrated here down in the south. So here in the southern hemisphere, that is below the equator, here what happens is the winds are blowing in the southeast direction, in this direction. But because of intense, low pressure, the winds get attracted. The high pressure winds, because it's over the sea, they get attracted towards the land. So they try to go towards the land. So as they cross the equator, because of the Coriolis effect, they get deflected towards the right. So now here they are blowing as southeast. Why southeast? Because always the winds are named from the direction from where they are blowing. So this is southeast. So that's why once they blow here and once they cross the equator, they are blowing like this. So it is southwest. So when they blow like this, it becomes southwest, and that is how they enter India. So that's why it's called as southwest monsoon. So it starts from June to September. Southeast trade winds in the southern hemisphere is attracted to the low pressure over the Indian landmass, that is here, crosses the equator and deflects right to blow as southwest monsoons. Now they split into two branches. Now once they enter India, they split into two branches because of the peninsular, tapering shape of the of the country. So here they blow as what? Arabian Sea branch and the Bay of Bengal branch. This I will explain in the next frame.
Start.
Yeah, so now these winds, like I said, they blow as southwest. So when they enter like this, it comes like this. So when they come here, because this is the Arabian Sea and this is the Bay of Bengal, so because of which they are given these names, Arabian Sea branch and Bay of Bengal branch. Now the southwest monsoon, they split into two branches. Now here the Arabian Sea branch, it actually splits further into three sub branches. One branch enters Saurashtra here and it goes all the way up, and then it goes parallel to the Aravalli range. This is Aravalli. So there is no barrier. The Aravalli range does not cause any barrier to these winds. So these winds go parallel to this, and then they strike the Shivalik, which is the lower Himalayas here. And once they strike the lower Himalayas, this side, that is the windward side, receives heavy rainfall, which is the foothills of the Himalayas receive very heavy rainfall. Similarly, the other branch actually strikes, it enters the Narmada Tapi basin here. It enters here, and again there is no what you call orographic, barrier, which means there are no ranges here if you see here. So then this side, that is the coast does not receive any rainfall, but these winds enter the basin here and goes all the way till Chota Nagpur plateau. Obviously, they do give rainfall as they proceed further to Chota Nagpur. Here, another strikes what you call the Western Ghats here. The Western Ghats are here. So, lot of rainfall is received on the coastal plains here. These areas. This area is called as the windward side. Windward side means a side which receives the full onslaught of the winds first. So, this side, and then they cross to the other side. The winds then go to the other side, and by the time it crosses, less moisture is there. So this region receives less rainfall compared to the windward side, and this is called as the rain shadow or the leeward side. Understood? Now next branch is the Bay of Bengal. The Bay of Bengal goes like this, and it strikes what? Actually it goes towards Arakan-Yoma, which is in Myanmar, and it gets deflected here, and then it blows this side. That is, it enters West Bengal and it blows from east to west like this, along the Ganga plain, the Indo-Gangetic plain here. And here the other one goes straight up and it strikes the Himalayas, and a lot of rainfall is given here to the Brahmaputra valley this side, the northeastern parts. Another sub-branch hits the Garo, Khasi and Jaintia hills, these three hills. So this side, that is on the windward side, the side that faces these winds receive a lot of rainfall. So this side has what you call the Cherrapunji and Mawsim Ram. So these places receive a lot of rainfall. So this is how they travel. So always remember, sometimes questions are asked. Now here Kolkata is there, here Patna is there, here Varanasi is there, here Delhi is there. So they ask like, why does Kolkata receives more rainfall than Delhi? So you have to explain that the Bay of Bengal branch, it enters first from east to west, and Kolkata lies to the east of Delhi, and the Bay of Bengal branch it blows from east to west. So Kolkata receives more rainfall because it carries more moisture. By the time it travels and reaches Delhi, it receives less rainfall because less moisture is there. So this is how the the branches, that is the southwest branch of the southwest monsoon winds, they blow. This is the Arabian Sea branch and this is the Bay of Bengal branch. I will go to the next season now. Now the next season is the retreating southwest monsoon winds. Now retreating, which means the southwest monsoon winds that had entered India, like I had explained the Arabian Sea branch, I had explained the Bay of Bengal branch. Now why these winds entered India? Because land experienced what? Intense low pressure, and sea was having high pressure. So winds were blowing from high pressure to low pressure. So because of which these winds entered. Now these southwest monsoon winds, they start to retreat, they go back, they withdraw. So because of which it is called as retreating. Now what results in their retreat? Obviously the temperature conditions changes. Like this happens like like I said, it is in the months of October, November that it is a season of the retreating southwest monsoon winds. Now what happens in October, November? You should first understand the position of the sun. Now I had explained in that previous that equator and the position of the sun. I had explained that in September the sun comes where? Over the equator. It is exactly facing the equator. Now this is October, which means the sun is actually moving southwards. So when the sun is moving southwards, that is, it is going towards the Tropic of Capricorn, the sun's rays are not actually vertical over the Indian subcontinent, that is the Indian landmass. So the temperature starts to fall slowly. So when it starts to fall, the low pressure condition that prevailed over the land will slowly change to high pressure. And because it is going down southwards, it is going towards the sea will become warmer and warmer. So when it becomes warmer, there it will have low pressure. Initially it had high pressure. So now the winds are changing, like over the land it is becoming high pressure because the temperature is falling down, and in the sea, towards the sea, it is becoming low pressure because the temperature is increasing. So winds will start blowing from what? High pressure, which is over the land now, and it will blow towards the sea. So it will retreat in the same fashion as it had entered the country. So the temperature in the north starts to fall as the sun moves south of the equator. So when it falls, obviously when the temperature falls, the low pressure that was there over land is slowly replaced by high pressure. The winds blow from land to sea. Now because they blow from land to sea, these are offshore winds, so they don't actually carry any moisture, because land from sea to sea, they don't carry moisture. But then because it was monsoon winds, it was a rainy season previous to this, there is still some humidity in the air and the land is still moist. So there is high humidity and high temperature because the sun is, the clouds are clearing. So because of which the temperature increases also here slightly, and it becomes very oppressive. So that is why it is called as the October heat. This October heat is very important because it is asked, what is the meaning of October heat? So you should say that there is high temperature, high humidity, which makes the climate, weather very unpleasant and oppressive, because of which it is called as October heat. Sometimes questions are asked like, why do the southwest monsoon winds retreat? So that time we have to explain the position of the sun, that is the apparent movement of the sun goes down to the south, so the rays of the sun is not falling on the landmass. So because of which the low pressure is replaced by high pressure, so the winds retreat. That is how you have to explain. The winds collect moisture from the Bay of Bengal and give rainfall to the Coromandel coast. Like I said, as they blow from land to sea, Bay of Bengal is there. So it crosses Bay of Bengal, it collects moisture, and then it hits the Coromandel coast. And then it gives rainfall, heavy rainfall to the Coromandel coast in the months of what you call October and November. Why? Because the sea experiences turbulence. Because initially it was high pressure, now it is low pressure. So See, these are the southwest monsoon winds that enter India. Now retreating means, like I said, here the land becomes cooler because now the sun is moving down south. So these winds will retreat. So here it is what you call high pressure now, and here it will be low pressure because the sun is now facing the sea and it's going down. So the winds will move in this direction. So as they move, they will cross over Bay of Bengal. A lot of disturbance takes place here because of changes in high pressure, low pressure, and then it results into cyclone, and then it gives a lot of rainfall to this part. This is the Coromandel coast. So this region receives a lot of rainfall, and that is how the retreat happens. So this is very important. It can be asked in the exam as well. Now we come to the last season, which is the cold and dry season. This is also called as the winter season, also named as northeast monsoon because the winds blow from northeast, from that direction. Now the months, like, it starts in December and it goes all the way till February. Now I had explained the movement of the sun. Now in the month of December, the sun moves down to the south. So Tropic of Capricorn, it's on the 22nd of December that the sun falls there exactly over the Tropic of Capricorn, which means that the Indian landmass will not receive the vertical rays of the sun. So the sun is down south, obviously, so they receive very slanting rays of the sun. So which means that the landmass becomes cooler and cooler. So cooler, which means that there will be high pressure winds, pressure conditions experiencing over the landmass. So then there would be like the high pressure means the wind starts moving from high pressure to low pressure because the sea will be experiencing the warmth of the sun because the sun is down south. So there it would be low pressure. So wind starts moving from the land towards the sea. So they are called as offshore winds. But the minute they cross the Bay of Bengal, like in the previous retreating also I had explained, when they cross the Bay of Bengal, they gather moisture and give rainfall to the Coromandel coast. So here winds blow from land to sea as there is a high pressure over land and low pressure over the surrounding sea. So the direction of the wind is in that movement. Now places in the northern plains are colder because they are away from the equator and also they don't have the moderating influence of the sea. So they are very cold, they have extreme temperatures, whereas the coastal areas they will experience moderate temperature because of the closeness to the sea, because of the the sea breeze and the land breeze that I had explained previously, distance from the sea. So they are at an advantage. And places that are height also, like because of the altitude factor also, they are much more colder. Now here, the Coromandel coast, like I said, they experience heavy rainfall because the winds, as they pass the Bay of Bengal, they gather moisture and they give heavy rainfall there. So mostly Tamil Nadu, then there is Andhra Pradesh, all these places they receive heavy rainfall during the months of December to February because of cyclonic depressions there. At the same time, the northwest part of India, like Punjab, Haryana, the western part of Uttar Pradesh, they also receive moderate rainfall because they get rainfall from the western disturbances. Now these are temperate cyclones that actually start near the Mediterranean Sea, and they travel from the west to the east and they enter India from the northwest part of India. So during the winter season, places like the Coromandel coast and the western part of India receive rainfall, whereas the rest of India remains dry. Only these places receive rainfall in the winter, and this rainfall, that is the northwest disturbances, rainfall from there gives rainfall, and because of which it is helpful for the winter crops, like you have barley, you have wheat, and some pulses that are there. So it is very good for the growth of the winter crops during the December to February months. Now next is distribution of rainfall. Now the location of a given place also determines like the amount of rainfall that place receives. Now for example, if the place lies on the windward side of the ranges, like for example Mumbai lies on the windward side of the Western Ghats. So because of which Mumbai receives heavy rainfall compared to Pune lies on the leeward side. Now why is that so? Because like I explained, when the southwest monsoon winds strikes Western Ghats, it will strike the Ghats and then it will rise, then it will as it goes higher, then it condenses and it cools, and then heavy rainfall is received on the windward side, that is Mumbai. By the time these winds cross over and go to the other side, then Pune receives less rainfall because less moisture is there. A major chunk is actually shed on the western coastal plains. Similarly, based on the location, the place receives rainfall. Like if it is very much in the interior, by the time the winds reach there, it carries less moisture, so less rainfall. So here, based on that, the Indian subcontinent or the Indian landmass is divided into 4 rainfall regions. Now, what are these? Like the first one is region of heavy rainfall. Here, these are the places that receives more than 200 centimeters of rainfall. Okay, in that year. Now, western coastal plains, obviously because they lie on the windward side of the Western Ghats. So, western coastal plain, Assam, West Bengal, Arunachal Pradesh, because I'll explain when the Bay of Bengal branch enters, through West Bengal, it will strike Himalayas and one the branch will go towards the Brahmaputra. So that is why Arunachal Pradesh and all those places receive heavy rainfall. Assam, the Mawsynram and Cherrapunji, which is in Meghalaya, the Garo, Khasi, Jayanti, I'd explained, even they receive a lot of rainfall. The second one is region of moderate rainfall. So here the distribution is like 100 to 200 centimeters. So that comes at the moderate rainfall. The eastern slopes of the Western Ghats, like I said, the western coastal plains, this is the western slope of the Western Ghats here. So by the time it goes on the other side, it is the eastern slope. So that receives less rainfall compared to this. So then Madhya Pradesh, because it is going inside in the interior, the eastern part of Maharashtra, the southern part of Tamil Nadu. So these are some of the places that receives moderate rainfall. Next is low rainfall. So the range is 50 to 100 centimeter. So as it goes further, deeper and deeper inside, the amount of moisture that it carries goes on decreasing. So less rainfall. So eastern Rajasthan. So Aravalli. So the Bay of Bengal, when it crosses and comes over to Rajasthan, the Aravalli is there here. So it receives less rainfall because a lot of moisture is already shed. So eastern Rajasthan, parts of Punjab, Haryana, Jammu and Kashmir, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, because it's going in the interior. So rainfall is less. That is the Deccan region. Region of scanty rainfall, less than 50 centimeters. So places like Kashmir, if you go further north, then western part of Rajasthan, because the Aravalli forms it's a parallel, it lies parallel as the southwest monsoon winds crosses Rajasthan. So the western part does not receive rainfall because the Aravallis don't form any barrier. So that part receives hardly any rainfall. Little rainfall it also gets from the western disturbances. So western Ghats. So these are the 4 rainfall regions based on the amount of rainfall they receive. Now the last part which I'm going to see and discuss is the characteristics of the rainfall that our country receives. The last part is characteristics of rainfall. Now, what are the features that we see in Indian rainfall? Like here it is seasonal in nature. Seasonal in nature, like the rainy season starts from June to September. So it's mostly confined to these 4 months. Like most of the southwest monsoon winds that we receive is during these months, June to September. Then we do have retreating and all that, but only some few places receive rainfall. Erratic and irregular. Erratic, irregular, which means that it is the quantity and the time cannot be predicted. Sometimes it rains very heavily. There are dry spells like almost for 2 weeks, and then there is sudden heavy rainfall. So the time and quantity also we cannot predict. Next is unevenly distributed. Like there are places like in Cherrapunji, Mawsynram, they receive very good amount of heavy rainfall. Whereas there are places like Jaisalmer and also in the interior parts of India where they receive very little rainfall. So it is unevenly distributed. Like I said, the amount of rainfall also depends upon where the place is located. If it is on the windward side, then it receives more rainfall. If it is more in the interior, then less rainfall. Orographic in nature, same thing. Windward side of the mountain receives more rainfall than the leeward side. Most of the Indian rainfall is orographic in type, which means that orographic means the ranges, like the Western Ghats are here. So the western coastal plain, which lies on the windward side of the Western Ghats, receive more rainfall. Say Mumbai, Kochi, Bangalore, all these places, they receive a good amount of rainfall because they are on the coastal plain. Similarly, but if you go a little in the interior on the leeward side, like you have places like Bengaluru, then you have places like like I said, Pune, Hyderabad. So they will receive a little less rainfall compared to the coastal plains because they are in the interior. They are on the the leeward side after the ranges. Right? So these are most commonly what the characteristic features are there of rainfall. This is also important. Even this is asked. Now the last part is the climatic table or the climate table or data. Now this question is always asked in the in your school test, in Anish test, and also in your board exam. And this is asked for 3 marks. 3 simple questions are asked. Now they give a data wherein they give the rainfall and temperature of a given place, or sometimes they give even of 2 places, and then they will ask you to compare. Now what are the questions that are asked? They will ask find the annual rainfall, like from January to December. They will give the temperature of that place as well as the rainfall that place receives. What they will ask is, sometimes they will ask direct questions like what is the annual rainfall of place A or place B, whatever name they have given to that station. So annual rainfall means it is a total rainfall. So from January to December, whatever the rainfall they have given, you have to be very careful when you are adding up the rainfall. So the data. So this is rainfall from Jan to December. So we'll add up the rainfall that place receives from Jan to December. So with that you will come at the annual rainfall, which means in that year, that is a total rainfall. The second question that they generally ask is annual range of temperature. Now range of temperature means the maximum temperature and minus the minimum. That is, you take the difference between the maximum and the minimum temperature. So which means that from Jan to December, where that temperature table is there, you have to see like which month has the maximum temperature and which month has the minimum. Suppose in station A, suppose temperature would be 35. So you will write 35 here, and suppose the minimum from Jan to December, if it is 10, so minus 10. So 35 minus 10 degrees Celsius, which means that you will write as 25 degrees Celsius. So that is the annual range. So you take the maximum and the minimum, the difference. Now why is this found? Why do we need to find this? If sometimes they will ask, sometimes questions like find the location of the place, whether it is near the coast or in the interior. If it is near the coast, then this difference will be very less, like 5 degrees Celsius, 10 degrees Celsius, anywhere less than 13 degrees Celsius. If it is that way, then it is somewhere near to the coast, because it has the moderating influence of the sea. So it will neither be very hot, so the temperature won't be very high, and the temperature won't be very low, like in the case of Mumbai. Mumbai, generally the annual range of temperature is very low compared to Delhi. Delhi will be like 45 degrees Celsius in the summer season. In the winter season it will be 10 degrees Celsius. So the difference comes to 35 degrees Celsius. So it is so looking at the difference itself, you come to know whether it is in the interior or the coast. Mumbai, it will be the difference will be some 10 degrees Celsius or even 12 degrees Celsius. That is the difference between the max and the minimum. So these two questions are always asked. Next one, to find whether the place lies on the west coast or on the east coast. This is very simple. So to find whether that place lies on the west coast or east coast. So west coast or east coast means the annual temperature is less because it lies near the coast. So they are not asked that. They have told you they lie near the coast. So you know it is either Mumbai that side, or it's somewhere Chennai or Visakhapatnam that side. Now how will you come to know which coast they lie? You have to see the rainfall. If the rainfall received is from June to September, then it lies on the west coast, because the southwest monsoon winds generally gives rainfall from June to September. So the southwest monsoon winds, the Arabian Sea branch comes from here. So these places like the western coastal place like Mumbai till Kochi, they receive good amount of rainfall. So June to September are the months when they receive good amount of rainfall. So they lie on the west coast. If suppose the rainfall received, like in that station is from October, November, December, January, February, then they are on that station is on the east coast, because they receive rain from the retreating southwest monsoon winds and also from the northeast monsoon winds that we had seen in the previous frame. So by looking at the rainfall, like the months, you get to know whether it lies on the east coast or on the west coast. So these are the type of questions that are asked under climatic data. Now I'll be doing the first climatic data with you all. Now this is the Anish textbook, geography textbook. Now you have to refer to page 17. Now there is this climatic data which is given. This is the data that is given in your exam. Now see here, there are 2 stations given, station A, station B, and they have given the temperature and rainfall of both the stations from Jan to December. Now you have to go through the instructions that are given here and see the questions that is asked. The first one, calculate the annual rainfall of temperature of station A. So only A is asked. So annual range of temperature means of A. This is A station and this is the temperature. And they have asked annual range. So annual range means you take the difference between the maximum temperature and the minimum temperature. So you will just go through the data from Jan to December under temperature and see which is the maximum. Now maximum is here, which is 30 degree, and here minimum is 24.4. So when I take the difference 30 minus 24.4 degrees Celsius, I get 5.6 degree Celsius. So this is the annual range. So annual range means maximum temperature minus minimum temperature. So now because of this, you come to know whether the station lies near the coast or in the interior. Now see the second part. Suggest a reason why the range is a small one. So here they themselves, they are saying like the range that you find could be a small one, but why? So you have to write it is near the coast. Sometimes they will ask like what do you come to know from this range, like so then you have to write it implies that the station lies near the coast. Here they are asking the other way around, why is it a small one, a small range? So you have to write because it is near the coast. That's it. The second one, which of the two stations has the lower temperature and why? Now two stations they are saying directly you need not find the annual range here. Directly you will see that station B is given, it lies at a height of 800 meters above sea level. So this is the altitude factor. So obviously the temperature would be much more lower compared to to station A, because this is sea level. So it is on the plain. So this is above sea level. So the temperature anyways will be lower. So which of the station? Directly you will write B because it lies 800 meters above sea level. The third one is calculate the annual rainfall of station B. Now they have asked of B. So annual rainfall means this, you will see this data. So what you will do, annual data means total rainfall, that is from Jan to December. So from 0.4 till 0.3, that is December, everything you are going to add. And when you add, when you take the total, you will arrive at the annual rainfall, which is also called as total rainfall. Here the answer comes to 31.8 centimeter. Don't forget to write the unit for temperature degree Celsius and for rainfall centimeter. So this is the first climatic data that I have done with you all. The next one I will be doing. Now this is the next climatic table which is on page 18, question 2. Now see here they have given only one station data, temperature, rainfall, that is from January to December. Now here look at the first question. Calculate the annual rainfall experienced by the station. So annual rainfall means it is total rainfall. So then when you take from 4.6 to 13.9, you total everything, January, February, March. So when you take till December, the total comes to 128.7 centimeter. That is the total rainfall or the annual rainfall. What is the annual range of temperature? Now range means you have to understand that you have to take the difference between the maximum and the minimum temperature. Now this is the temperature data. Now maximum means when you look at this, maximum is 3.5 and the minimum is 20.4. So you take the difference, 32.5 minus 20.4, it comes to 12.1 degree Celsius. So this is the data for annual range. The third one is name the wettest month. Wettest month means the month that receives the rainfall the most. So when you look at this, all the data, November receives maximum. So this is October is 30.6, November is 35. So you just have to write the month. You need not even write the how much rainfall that month receives, only the name of the month, that is November. So I have done two climatic data with you all from the Anish textbook. The remaining I will be doing with you all. I will be discussing the answers. I will be asking each one of you all. You have to go through this and then I will be asking you all in the Zoom class when I will be doing the topo class with you all.